Alright, hello everybody. It's Justin or AVJV here, back with another episode of the Extra Life podcast. This episode I'm actually very excited for because it should be the longest episode yet. Because we were talking about the impact of a soundtrack today. Now, right before I dive into the episode, is a couple of things that are on my mind. Is that I think even like before the next podcast episode, after this comes out, I really want to do a Deltarune theory video because like even the ones that are getting created recently that I've been seeing on my recommended page, they've been banging views and very thought-provoking theories. And obviously, Deltarune is one of my favorite games of all time. And again, it's only on its first couple of chapters, so it's definitely gonna get even better. I would absolutely love to make a theory video on it. But obviously, again, it might take a little longer than like these podcast episodes because there's more editing to do and stuff. But whatever. Anyways, I really want to do one of those. Second thing, happy Halloween. As I'm recording this, it is October 29th. So, right, hope you guys have a nice Halloween. And yeah, all right. Today I'm talking about the impact of a soundtrack in any game, honestly. So obviously we're starting off with what defines the theme of a soundtrack. So what a soundtrack always does is that it always adds another layer of engagement and sets the tone of any scenario in the game. So it could be, for example, a horror game where there is a severe lack of sound or music, and any other like subtle or yeah, or like a sudden boom can really startle you, and really throw you off. Or like in an action game or any game that involves like a more like upbeat or a serious scenario, you would have like a music or sounds that would accompany and carry that theme throughout. um yeah, so yeah, obviously the first point is saying is that the theme of soundtracks really dive into like emotional impact as like as like gamers play the game. It's very like interesting to like even talk about in general because yeah, right, because yeah, again, like our emotions and feelings towards what the game is conveying can be like, pretty serious. Like again, if I had to admit, I would yeah, like games like Amori or Hollow Knight, like yeah, they can get you emotional at times. Like again, it could be very serious and very impactful as to what the soundtrack could convey and how it boosts the theme or scenario as to what it's trying to convey. Because again, it's another factor on getting you to feel and relate and engage into the game to make you like it. You know because at the end of the day, that's all games want you to do. They want you to like it. They want you to enjoy it. They want you to play it. And again, and yeah, soundtracks can definitely even make a game be remembered by it. Um, Again, going back to Undertale Deltarune, even like people to this day that have never played Undertale or Deltarune, and they played for the first time, then like and they like going into like the shop or whatever, they recognize the theme even though they never even played Undertale. um they recognize the theme, and obviously it's all very surprising. You see people like, no way, this theme is from this game and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, especially when like fighting Sans or something. Obviously the iconic Megalovania boss, probably one of the most iconic boss fight themes in all of gaming, to be honest. Yeah, and again, it all ties back to like games like Undertale, Deltarune, Hollow Knight, Amori, even Cuphead. Cuphead really like surprised I think like everybody in terms of how good the game was because the entire soundtrack is all this like super cool like jazz and stuff. Obviously, it makes you feel good. And yeah, again, like another factor into why it's one of my favorite games of all time because it's just super creative, and the soundtrack definitely conveys that as well as all the other themes. But yeah, and right, one more thing to what defines the impact of a soundtrack is that it doesn't even need to be a song. It could even just be like a sound effect or like a sound. This could be like the whole Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Like, yeah, some games do have like a good soundtrack to them, in terms of entire songs and that. Or it could even allude back to like the first games created. It could even just be like the hallway ambience or like whenever an animatronic is nearby. As soon as you hear that ambience, it really gets your like heart going, and then you start panicking. Because again, it's good because again, a game like FNAF, it's supposed to instill the fear, and the soundtrack really does that. And again, probably yeah, and like even rhythm games like Friday Night Funkin', that's the soundtrack is literally like the whole base of the game. It's supposed to have a good soundtrack because every single thing about the game is rhythm and music based, and yeah, it's really good. For the most part, anyways. But yeah, soundtracks really impact like the whole world of gaming in the sense that it allows us to feel and allows us to have an impactful emotional shift uh like relating to the game as to like what scenario is possibly playing out, or like but like pretty much how anything is happening. And yeah, so yeah, first game I'm obviously gonna talk about, as to probably nobody's surprise, was would be Amori. Amori is probably has one of the vastest soundtracks in terms of how the songs are built and how they are like how impactful they are. So yeah, the themes vary from like the locations of the game, like like all the enemies you encounter, mini bosses, and even like the more psychological horror aspect of the game. They have that really eerie and creepy like and like monotone like pitches to them. And again, like Amori is one of those games where it is absolutely flawless in wanting you to express emotion and influencing your emotions, in the sense that like one half of the game is you are playing throughout this whole dream world, and you're fighting all these like brightly colored enemies, and like having a nice laugh with your friends, while the second half of the game is more psychological horror, in the sense that everything is not fun at all and is really trying to like get you scared, get you on edge, and really trying to get you to be afraid. And it is such a good game in terms of that. And the soundtrack definitely tells it, because again, like the name locations, they're all very different, and every single theme that pertains to them is absolutely flawless in trying to convey what the theme is about. Like for example, we have Otherworld down there, which is supposed to be like in space, and again, lo and behold, everything's like, again, it sounds like you're in space. You got like stars twinkling, and yeah, stuff like that. It's very impactful and wanting you to get all the feels of the location you possibly can. Um, and yeah, like again, in terms of like enemies, bosses, and mini bosses, stuff like that, every single like different location in the game has their own battle themes when you encounter an enemy. And again, very good in trying to convey like where you are, how you should feel, what like you could possibly do with this, and how your emotions harness what you are hearing, and 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 ultimately trying to involve you in the scenarios of what the game is trying to pertain to you. um right, second game I would probably talk about is, again, no surprise, Undertale Deltarune. Toby Fox, the creator of these games, are absolutely flawless in everything they do. From game design to soundtracks to all that. But yeah, like even like individual characters can have their own theme, and it could be impactful in the sense that it could tie into the individual characters' character development and how they act, how they behave, how it gets us to think about how they think. Like example from Undertale is Papyrus. Sans describes him as like, like very enthusiastic, and he's a whole like fanatic about hunting humans and all that stuff. And yeah, like again, his theme's very his theme pertains that, and kind of how it also kind of explains the like the whole fandom's headcanon on how Papyrus's voice should sound like Skeletor, or like very very upbeat, very very like outgoing, very bombastic at what he does. And again, the theme conveys that because it's more upbeat, it's more catchy, and even his battle theme, it's not too different for his regular theme, but again, just enough to make it seem like, okay, he's a little more serious now because yes, you're in a fight with him. Um, and yeah, for Deltarune's, I guess, Papyrus counterpart would be Lancer. Every time Lancer's on screen, you know it's gonna be something funny. Because again, his theme is going, and we pretty much know how he's gonna act. He's Lancer's character is all cheerful and silly, and he's kind of the like one of the key aspects for comedic relief, in my opinion. And yeah, again, like his team's going, you're in a good mood. He's saying all of his jokes and stuff. Just whenever he's on the screen and you hear the theme, it's a good time. Um, and yeah, again, that's what the game wants us to convey, and how it wants us to be engaged. And obviously, it's obviously never boring us in the sense that, like even an individual character's theme can draw us in. Right. Again, like boss themes, like Jevil or Spampton, they have one of the most impactful themes in the sense that, I mean, they bang. They're like incredible themes. Um, and how Toby Fox made them is just impeccable. Because it really gets us going. It really gets us in the fighting spirit, and gets us pumped and ready to go. And again, all the while pertaining to like the character's theme, like Jevil's theme is more like a like court jestery, like circus theme. Like again, all the while trying to involve us into the current situation. Like we're fighting him, everything is spinning around. There's literally chaos everywhere, and that's what the theme sounds like. And it's still one of the greatest themes ever in the soundtrack. Um, and again, like one thing that Toby Fox does for his soundtrack is that they span to even like secret themes. Like you don't even encounter these regularly. Again, I'm talking about like Gaster and the Gaster followers. Like in the game's files, Gaster has his own theme, which is very, very, very rarely heard in the game, and even kind of like alludes in Deltarune a little bit. Um, and yeah, again, it's very, very ominous, very, very mysterious. It is a simple, simple theme to remember or play or recognize. But still, again, that could be what makes it very ominous and very interesting to hear. Like it obviously makes us think, okay, well, this is not the most fun in the sense that it's ominous. If it's not fun, it's ominous. If it's serious, it could pertain to the lore. It could honestly do whatever. It could honestly do whatever. It could again. It could instill fear. It could instill like like being on guard, making you wary. Like of like how you got to this point. What are they gonna do? Um, and honestly, just how how it affects you, how it could even like affect how you're gonna continue on with the game. Like even when you're like done hearing the theme and you're on to like the next section of the game, it can still linger in the back of your mind and again still impact your emotions in the sense that like wow, that just happened. That's a really drastic turn as to what the game is like putting on screen right now. Like I could be in like the like in like the overworld talking to like Lancer or whatever, having a good time, but then in the back of my head I was like, damn, that like that happened. That's a big big turn as to like the situation on screen. And it's all a big masterclass on how Toby Fox creates his games, and I think we're all here for it. I definitely am, anyways. But yeah, third game that I haven't talked about on the podcast somehow is Hollow Knight, and the soundtrack for Hollow Knight is also again very very flawless. Um, like every single location you go to, every single boss you fight, they all have their ways of getting you attached to the game. Um, like even the DLCs that came with it, the soundtrack expanded as to yeah, it expanded from what masterpieces were already in the original one, and it gave us even more. Like the boss themes, the named locations, they're just absolutely flawless at trying to make us feel, engaged. Like it could be again like the name location. It could be all quiet. It could be peaceful. It could be like piano playing. It could be like any other delicate instrument. And then the battle themes. It could be like all like drums and like serious instruments. It could be like a violin. It could be like I don't know like a trombone. I don't know. I'm just listing more serious instruments off the top of my head. But yeah, again, yeah, Hollow Knight soundtrack. Another thing that it does is that yeah, its soundtrack is more based off of like more like instruments and like classical music, as opposed to like music produced through like like a soundboard or like anything that that people just just like produce like beats off of, for example. It's more classical based in the sense that they record each individual section of the of the theme like individually with that instrument, and then they compile it all together and they make the theme, which is very very interesting uh like way of creativity. It's very very impactful in the sense that um like the soundtracks of the bosses, they again they really really get you going. They get you the fighting spirit. They get you into the okay, time to lock in mindset. Because again, it is more serious, and again, you're in the middle of a fight. It's supposed to be serious. It's not supposed to be time for calm. Yeah, yeah, and again, like to counter that, yeah, the times for calm when you're like sitting on a bench or like you're like talking to the NPCs. Again, that's a more calm, like state of mind and scenario. Because again, like you're not in the middle of a fight. You're not trying to explore without dying. You're just trying to talk to somebody. And again, it's it all relates to how we are even in real life. And again, the soundtracks can tie into that in the sense that um like talking to an NPC or whatever. It's a more like lighthearted and peaceful theme, and again, it makes us more relaxed, and it makes us more careful, and like more available to feel more emotion, instead of like the whole linear mindset of, oh, I'm in a fight, I can't die, I need to be I need to kill I need to beat this boss. You're trying to, because the theme is more calm, and you're in a more controlled environment. It gives you time to like even listen to what they're saying, like what the NPC is saying. If it's talking about like the game, if it's talking about, how the character is doing, what place they're in, etc., etc. But yeah, again, Hollow Knight is once again another flawless soundtrack. Even though I guess all the games outlined in this episode are gonna be considered flawless. But yeah. Anyways. Yeah, right. I did talk about this before, but yes, Cuphead, very, very creative soundtrack in the sense that every single boss and every single location has their own very upbeat and jazzy theme. Um, every single song was composed by, like musicians playing their individual instruments, and they all got compiled into the themes, which are, like audibly and yeah, just very, very audibly impactful, in the sense that, again, the game is supposed to be like a whole 1930s cartoon, and that's what was more prevalent back in the day. Like more jazzy, uh, themes, and more jazzy music. Because yeah, like again, even like the bosses and the art style, and like pretty much all of the above that has to do with the game. It's supposed to be, like all like old timey and cartoony, because again, that's what the game is supposed to be. And that coincides with the jazz soundtrack, because it's supposed to relate to like the 1930s, and it's supposed to, like it's supposed to make you feel more upbeat, because like this game is just like a simple, like side scroller shoot 'em up with a very, very like linear story to it. But still, even then, it is a flawless game, in the sense that it really gets you to feel happy and upbeat. Every single theme you hear is just outstanding. Because again, like you don't have to be like a band kid to get it. But again, like each individual instrument in like every single score of the entire game, Cuphead, Don't Deal with the Devil. Again, it makes you feel the emotions, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel happy, and it makes you feel sometimes serious. Like when you're in the middle of the fight, the theme could possibly like drop down to a more serious tone, and then quickly escalate back up, and then you're like, all right, this is serious. And yeah, again, one more thing that could coincide with the soundtrack is just the overall difficulty of the game. Like the themes really, really convey that, holy crap, this could be very difficult. Like again, yeah, like as to how serious these situations might be in the game, which could be very, very serious for every single boss fight in the game, which is very serious in the sense that they're difficult, and yeah, you're just really not easy in general. And yeah, like even every single location that you're in, like every single like aisle you visit, very yeah, again, it just exhibits the emotion that you have towards the game, and just makes you like the game overall. Everything about the game is flawless and just incredible. Right, right. One more thing to add about Cuphead is that again, like soundtracks could get an expansion. Like the DLC. That came out, and again, every single theme pertains to a more jazzy outlook. You got your piano, your saxophone, your keyboard, your trumpets. Again, it's all again all composed like individually, and together again, like that makes the DLC, that makes and that adds on to the entire game. And it is simply just incredible as to how vast the soundtrack can vary, in the sense that, you know, um, yeah, like the different bosses, like how they are. You have like King Dice, you have like Cagney Carnation, you have Beppy the Clown. Uh, Again, every single theme pertains to the boss, and like what the setting is, the scenario that you're in. It all gets you to feel and and exhibit your emotions, in a positive manner. Obviously, not not negatively, like a Mori, where it's trying to spook you. But not Cuphead is very, very, very flawless game in my opinion. And again, right. Next game I would talk about is the whole Final Nights at Freddy's franchise, in the sense that the it's not entirely known for its soundtrack, but even again, it could be even something as simple as ambience, and ambience could obviously be like something as simple as like you hear something like rustling in the vents, you see something that's right in front of you just staring you down. You know, it's very, very like wanting to instill fear, and it does in the older games. It really, really sets the tone of it's supposed to be scary, it's supposed to be disturbing, it's supposed to be off-putting, because nothing is proper in like in the game. It's not supposed to be, because every single setting in the FNAF games is supposed to be disturbing, in the sense that, like, yeah, like it even ties into like the story on just how vague it is, and like people died here, these animatronics possess this child's soul and stuff like that. But yeah, again, um soundtracks, um like FNAF, um does not need to be a full length song. It does not need to be a full masterpiece to get you to feel, uh as yeah, to get you to feel what situation you're in, and how it impacts your choices, and how you're seeing stuff, like again, like again, for FNAF, when you could see Chica in the window, like the very fast sound effect of that, like again, that like that makes you jump, because again, Chica's at the window. Gotta close that window, or else you're gonna die. Because again, and yeah, it's very, very unexpected. But and again, that is what instills the fear and emotion in the game, and it does so flawlessly. Because of how eerie the game is. It is incredibly eerie, and is incredible on how it conveys the theme and tone of the game, how unsettling it is. All right, now and again, one game that I also haven't talked about on the podcast again somehow is Inscription. Inscription also has a very vast, sorry, soundtrack, in the sense that it is divided into three different acts. It is divided into Act One, where you're in this cabin, and everything is all like more or less peaceful, and all like mellow, in the sense that, yeah, Act One's soundtrack is all like peaceful, and like, man, yeah, peaceful and mellow, in the sense that the only instrument used pretty much is like it's like a guitar, or like ukulele, or yeah, it's supposed to convey that yeah, you're in a dark setting, and it's yeah, you're in a dark setting. It is unnerving, but it's peaceful at the same time, because you're playing cards, and again, it's just it's just a good time overall, more or less. That's what it's supposed to convey, even though it is very mysterious. And then Act One goes on to Act Two, where everything looks like Pokemon. Everything becomes 8-bit and becomes your stereotypical like old-fashioned 8-bit game. Like 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 boss themes, place themes. It's all like like turned into the more 8-bit and bit crushed like generalization. um yeah, like the themes varying from like the crypts to like the factory to the cabin to the tower. They all have their own ways of conveying where you are and how it is possible for you to like feel for where you are. And Act 2 goes on to Act 3, or Act 3 is similar to Act 1, but you are in the factory this time, not the cabin. Where the factory, it's more like a techno and industrial feel to it, because again, that's where you are. You're in a very like dimly lit factory where PO3, the robot, is governing the game, because again, it's his factory, and like he's the one in control. He's the one that's like very nonchalant, and like only trying to care about gameplay and not storytelling and all that stuff. And again, that's what the themes convey. They convey that he is like more self-centered, uh like strategist to how he plays, and doesn't really care about trying to involve you into the game. He only cares about like just playing the game. Like he just wants you to play the game. And again, like doesn't try to engage you, and that's what his soundtrack more or less correlates to. And again, another game that I haven't talked about is Terraria. Terraria also has a very, very good soundtrack, because every like individual boss has their themes. Every single like biome has its themes, and it really conveys how the places and the enemies that like inhabit there are. Like the jungle biome. There's like like the big boss. There's Plantera, and like everything is all like when you hear the jungle theme, you obviously like you don't even need your eyes to picture where you are, because you are in the jungle. It's very like, 'cause it sounds more tropical. It sounds like there's more greenery as to where you are, and because it's true. It's supposed to be more like a little more upbeat, because jungle's not supposed to be all so scary and stuff like that. And and yeah, again, like on like on that train of thought, as you go more underground in the jungle, yeah, that's when the theme gets more serious and more ominous, because you're constantly exploring, and you don't know what you're gonna encounter. Right, like yeah, and then themes like the dungeon theme, yeah, like all you're going is you're just going down, and you're like fighting skeletons, and you're like unlocking treasure chests, and yeah, like again, it's more mysterious, and wants you to convey more fear, in the sense that there's like traps everywhere. The enemies are very difficult. Yeah, like etc. Um, but yeah, again, that's kind of it for Terraria. But again, very impactful nonetheless. Like the soundtrack is also what is notorious for, or one of the things at least. Because again, it is more 8-bit focused, because it is an 8-bit game, but still, it is definitely recognizable for its soundtrack. And alright, the final game I'm going to cover for this episode is a game that not very many people know, which saddens me, because this game is excellent. It is Castle Crashers. This game was originally an Xbox 360 game. And just now I figured out is getting an update on Steam after 13 years, which is incredible. But yeah, the soundtrack in this game is also impeccable. Um, Again, boss themes, enemy encounters, scenarios, settings, again, all of the above does excellent in, especially in the sense that you pretty much explore every corner of the land. You explore a desert, you explore like an active volcano, you explore an ice castle, you explore a like big crypt, you explore a bit like another evil castle. You get chased down by a giant troll. Pretty much everything your stereotypical RPG does, and it is absolutely incredible in doing that, in the sense that the themes are comprised of being able to get you to exhibit the emotions that they want you to. Like, as you're getting chased, the theme is fast. The theme is like, like fast, serious, maybe a little more upbeat compared to other themes. And yeah, again, just very serious. And Now again, a very very good job at doing that. Like, right, another theme could be, like when you're in the desert, you got like your stereotypical like desert soundtrack. You got like flutes, and you got like even accordions, stuff like that. Like very very effective at conveying your current situation where you're at. Um, and yeah, boss themes, they're more serious. They're more like they convey more, like again, like wanting to live, wanting to just beat the boss, because again, you need to know what happens. You need to save the princesses, because that's what the game's all about. And again, Castle Crashers is an absolutely outstanding game. I'm pretty sure it's on all platforms. Again, highly highly recommend. But yeah, anyways, again, sorry for going a little bit on the tangent there. But again, the soundtrack to this game is very very impeccable, because of the scenarios you are put in. Um, yeah, again, that's pretty much to summarize the entire thing. So, right, again, it kind of sounds like I'm out of breath. That's because again, this has been the longest episode so far of the podcast, and I was again very very passionate about it, and I was very excited to record this episode, because I was like, wow, I actually have time to do it. And again, obviously, I did not hesitate to start recording. So yeah, that was the impact of a soundtrack. Again, one of my personal favorite themes to talk about in all of gaming, because it is really really interesting how soundtracks can differ, and how they could focus on other things. Like again, like Cuphead soundtrack is all upbeat and jazzy. Like Undertale soundtrack is more 8-bit and adventurous, and again, etc. Like it no like the list goes on. But yeah, anyways, right, this has been another episode of the Extra Life podcast. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Um, Again, just a reminder, I really hope to record a Dotting Theory video. Um, and yeah, again, that should be more extensive, kind of like this episode. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good night, day, whenever you're listening this to, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.